Many Americans claim and believe that they have had sex with aliens and have already given birth to hybrid babies. And many claim that they were kidnapped or raped by extraterrestrials. This may sound strange to you, but there are professionals in America who help these survivors recover from their trauma caused by the alleged sexual abuse from aliens. A survey has even concluded that 2% of Americans have experienced UFO abduction syndrome. 77% of adults in America believe that angels are real. 61% of Americans think that the devil is real. And 21% of Americans believe in witches. Many feel that a scientific temperament is important for any country that wants to progress in this modern world. But then, quite strangely, it appears that some of the most developed and rich countries continue to have many bizarre beliefs, behaviors, or practices which numerous scientists regard as superstitions, fraudulence, or health-related disorders. So in this episode, let us explore the so-called superstitions and other skeptical behaviors or practices that are prevalent in India, Europe, and America. Losing a loved one can be difficult for anyone, but 21st century America has some special solutions for this. In the USA, people who are referred to as spiritual mediums claim that they can communicate with the dead. Some of them even charge their clients hundreds of dollars per reading to establish communication with their loved ones who have passed away. Spiritual mediums are in demand in many Western nations, but as far as America is concerned, 21% of Americans believe that there are individuals with the ability to contact the dead. Such types of claims and powers are often rejected by the scientific community, but it seems that people have free will and they decide who and what they want to believe in. Many people also feel that their experiences are just too real to be untrue. Perhaps that is why in America, many people who claim to have experienced abductions by aliens do not seem to be very satisfied when science connects their experiences to sleep paralysis. But the situation becomes more serious when some bizarre beliefs lead to violence and crime. For example, in the UK, according to the Department for Education, witchcraft and black magic have contributed to an increase in child abuse. In England, just within a year, almost 2,000 children were identified as victims of child abuse linked to faith or belief. But quite obviously, it should be understood that not all people who believe or take interest in black magic or witchcraft are violent. In America, it was reported that professional witches can also be hired to do magic, and people do hire their services. In Serbia, the media has exposed the not-so-pretty side of the vlach magic rituals, but regardless of the media exposure, similar types of beliefs and traditions continue to exist in many parts of Europe. Countries may have differing laws regarding black magic or such practices, but one thing is worth observing. Around the world, if there are people who like to hire the services of the so-called witches, then there are also people who have hurt many innocent people for accusing them of witchcraft. It should be pointed out that the traditions of such bizarre beliefs, strange rituals, or black magic are not unique to one country, cult, or religion. In one way or another, these behaviors can be observed almost everywhere. For example, in Italy in year 2000, a nun was brutally killed by 3 teenage girls reportedly during a satanic ritual, and in the UK, a mother killed her own daughter because angels told her to do so. As far as Satan-worshipping groups are concerned, it seems that efforts are being made to make them a more acceptable part of the modern, diverse culture of America and Canada, as quite often people are very skeptical about Satanists. For example, the Canadian news outlet Global News reported how Canadian members of the Satanic Temple say a black mass isn't anything to be afraid of and call it an expression of personal liberty and freedom. It should be noted that many atheists are members of the Satanic Temple. And there are many articles in the mainstream media which appear to break the negative Satanist stereotype. But it may be hard to say that all stories in relation to Satanism have ended well. On occasions, activities of some self-professed Satanists have reportedly caused trouble. When a German couple was sent to jail for killing a friend, The incident not only made international headlines, it also brought the subject of human sacrifice back into discussion. But again, it seems that Satan-worshipping groups and human sacrifice are not unique to one nation or region. For example, several reports have highlighted the existence of Satan-worshipping in the northeastern region of India. In Kerala, the trend of Satan worshipping was reportedly brought by French tourists to Fort Kochi in early 2000s. In particular, journalist Rajiv Sivshankar has spent a lot of time researching the subject of Satan worshippers in Kerala and has highlighted some of the aspects that may easily cause discomfort to many. Like many other nations, human sacrifice is illegal in India. But unfortunately, there have been incidences when the most unthinkable types of crimes have taken place. A lot of these incidents take place in India's tribal areas. Not too long ago, in one of the landmark cases regarding human sacrifice, a couple from Chhattisgarh was sentenced to capital punishment. On the other hand, many innocent women and children in India are killed after being accused of witchcraft. India's NCRB data of 2018 shows that there were 63 cases in which the motive of murder was classified as witchcraft. Demonic possession is another subject that has been observed and discussed widely. Reportedly, 500,000 people seek exorcisms in Italy annually. It was also reported that the demand for exorcists is increasing in France. The shortage of clergy trained in exorcism means that many independent and self-styled exorcists are in demand in Europe, charging hundreds of dollars to rid people and properties of so-called demons. In 2018, around 250 priests went to Rome to undergo annual Vatican training on exorcisms. 57% of Americans believe in demonic possession, and surprisingly, when it comes to younger Americans of 18 to 29 years age group, the percentage that believes in demonic possession is even higher at 63%. What is even more disturbing is that there have been attempts to cure people of their homosexuality through exorcism. No, I am not talking about incidents that occurred in Indonesia. I am actually talking about America and Europe. Horrifying and humiliating stories have often emerged in relation to people who had to face exorcism to evacuate the so-called gay demon out of them. Go through these stories. How shocking are these claims? The situation has been equally painful for many people in these Western nations who have undergone exorcism while suffering from various health ailments and mental illnesses. According to the American author and investigator Benjamin Radford, the idea that invading spirits are inherently evil is largely a Judeo-Christian concept. In an article for a science news website, he cites examples of the incidents when exorcism cost innocent lives. Author Michael Cuneo, who participated in more than 50 exorcisms while researching his book, found no reason to think that anything supernatural occurs during exorcisms. On the other hand, there is Dr. Richard Gallagher, a top psychiatrist who had a Catholic upbringing. He diagnoses mental illness and may also help spot demonic possession. Many feel that faith and beliefs can also contribute to the way people behave and see things. For many, these are miracles. For others, they are not. On numerous occasions, global media outlets have reported how weeping statues attract crowds of believers and how these types of incidents have taken place all over the world. The local reported how in Spain, the Interior Ministry's decision to award the Gold Medal of Police Merit, the highest honor of the country's national force, to an image of the Virgin Mary led to controversy. Various polls and surveys have revealed how Americans hold differing beliefs or superstitions. But these behaviors are not limited to America. Some of these superstitions are also prevalent among many Europeans, and can also be seen elsewhere. In India, evil eye or Buri Nazar is something that many believe in. And personally speaking, I have come across people who aren't religious but still hold some strange belief or superstition. Moreover, around the world, many buildings do not have a 13th floor and some airlines do not have a 13th row. However, it should be mentioned that specific numbers may hold unique significance for specific countries or cultures. For many around the world, astrology may be awesome and real, but for others it is just pseudoscience. It seems that astrology can be pursued in a university in India, and almost every region in the country has self-styled or trained astrologers. Feng Shui and Vastu Shastra specialists can even be hired through interior designers. 9% of Americans believe that palm reading can accurately predict the future, and 7% believe that tarot card reading can do so. An increasingly globalized world also means that many traditional beliefs or systems are gaining international exposure and attention. Feng Shui has gained popularity in India, and Vastu Shastra experts can be hired outside India too. In his article for Scientific American, the American science journalist John Horgan explores the reasons why troubled people are seeking solace in pseudoscientific practices such as astrology and tarot cards. According to the US government's National Institute of Science, surveys conducted in the United States and Europe reveal that many citizens do not have a firm grasp of basic scientific facts and concepts, nor do they have an understanding of the scientific process. In addition, belief in pseudoscience seems to be widespread among Americans and Europeans. The friction between science and pseudoscience has sometimes resulted in interesting debates and discussions. There were even occasions when questions were asked about science becoming dogmatic. One good example of this is the case of Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, who explored the 10 scientific dogmas that need to be reevaluated. Many feel that even modern science seems to have some dependence on opinions and dogmas, and if that is true, then why shouldn't these so-called scientific dogmas also be scrutinized further for everybody's benefit? Now let's draw our attention to rituals and superstitions. In her article that was published in Nature, Kendall Powell mentions that many scientists engage in personal rituals or use totems in the lab and field. She goes on to mention a few interesting examples. From America to Japan, it seems that superstitions reach into every corner of human endeavor. But why is it happening? Are some scientists also lacking the so-called scientific temperament? Between July 2007 and January 2008, 1,100 scientists from 130 universities and research institutes were surveyed in India. 16% of them endorsed faith healing, 24% agreed that holy people perform miracles, and 7% believed in ghosts or spirits. Maybe some realize it and some don't, but a closer look may reveal that many among us do engage in some sort of magical thinking. In his book, The 7 Laws of Magical Thinking, the author, Matthew Hudson, explores the supernatural or irrational beliefs that human beings naturally share and that they aren't even conscious of. Even atheists seem to fear something that they don't believe in. The study revealed that asking God to do awful things was equally stressful to atheists as it was to religious people. Moving on further, there is something else that I would like to mention. Sometimes people find it difficult to distinguish between traditions, rituals, and superstitions. Well, it is true that even many traditions and rituals will not be able to stand scientific scrutiny, but as far as superstitions are concerned, can we say that not only do they defy the current scientific wisdom, but they also seem to come with some mystical threats or rewards that on occasions can influence one's behavior in a very negative way? On the other hand, many rituals or traditions appear to be harmless as they may just carry some symbolic or philosophical meaning. For example, the practice of lovers attaching a padlock to bridges, gates, etc. is prevalent in European countries and is generally considered to be symbolic in nature. But we also cannot rule out that sometimes meaningful practices, traditions or symbolic rituals, if not followed or preserved properly, can over time become corrupt to finally turn into superstitions. But wait a minute, Preserving traditions is also related to preserving culture and diversity. Now, how do we do that? Well, there is one useful term that I have learned in India regarding traditions, and that is kuprata or kuriti. Kuprata is a harmful or corrupt tradition that societies should reject. On the other hand, pratha is a tradition that can be preserved to help cultures to nurture their dynamism. When we talk about preserving culture, we should talk about preserving pratha and rejecting kuprata. As far as science is concerned, it seems like a good idea to benefit from the best available science. But at the same time, how can we forget that our scientific wisdom is also constantly evolving? Yes, correctly analyzing the evidence is significant to the practice of science. But can our scientists claim that they have discovered all the tools to collect all the evidence that exists? And if we haven't found all the evidence that exists, can that be regarded as proof of their absence? Without an element of doubt, superstitious practices that harm us should be banned. Many jurisdictions around the world have already acted, but more impactful steps should be taken wherever there is room for improvement. The rate of prevalence may differ, but it seems that superstitions or bizarre beliefs have left almost no country or community untouched. From scientists and sportspersons to ordinary people living in urban or rural areas, in one way or another, it is clear that human beings are governed or largely influenced by emotions. Namaste, I'm Karolina Goswami. Months of hard work has gone into the episode that you have just watched. Through the help of many studies, research and facts, I have been doing my best to carefully uncover India's complex layers. I'm also exploring many subjects that are relevant to India in this increasingly globalized world. So please come forward and support this mission financially. See you again.